Live. All right. Okay. Yeah, just trying. So looks like we're live. Um, welcome to the June, or to the live reading of the first chapter of my newest book, VR Hero Number Two Trial. My name is Lucas Flint, and I am the author of not just Trial, but also a whole bunch of other superhero books and series, including Superhero Sun, Gifts Online, Minimum Wage Sidekick, and a whole lot more that you can find on my website at www.lucasflint.com and wherever books are sold. So, normally I do these live streams a lot closer to the release date for the book in question I'm doing the reading for, but because I was on vacation from like from like May through in the last week of May and didn't get back home until a few days ago. I had to put it off until tonight. So that's why it's on the third rather than the first. So try. So anyways, VR Year Number Two Trial came out on Amazon in ebook and paperback a couple days ago. It's also in Kindle Unlimited, so you can borrow it for free if you want, if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. Either way, hope you'll be able to read along with me because you can see it on the screen here. We got the paperback version open, or the PDF file put open. So before I begin, I'd just like to talk about this book for a bit. So this is the second. So this is the second book in my superhero lit RPG series called VR Hero. The series stars Buster Byrne, a player of a Capes Online player, streamer, and musician who ended up getting reset back to level one in the first book in the series, appropriately titled Reset, where he now and so he's been trying to rebuild both his music career and streaming career, and while also dealing with the machinations of the villainous cult called Digitus, which are the primary antagonists of the series. He also created a band of fellow players as part of his quest to rebuild called the Digitals. So in this second book, Busker ends up getting kidnapped by a villain known as Darkhold. Darkhold runs a villain town called Blades, which he rules as a tyrant with an iron fist. And the reason he kidnaps Busker is because Darkhold does not like digital immortals, which are beings uh, who have their or human beings who have downloaded their minds into Capes Online and are essentially immortal. He considers it, he considers it unnatural or wrong for some reason. So we don't reveal it here because it's kind of a spoiler. But if you want to find out, you can just get the book. It's not revealed in this first chapter that we're going to read here. So this was so this was so yeah, I'll just read the first chapter and I'll give you a brief my brief thoughts on it afterwards. And in the meantime, feel free to read along or post in the chat. At the end, I'll take a look at the chat and see if there are any and answer any questions or respond to any comments. So about whether it's of the book or other things. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, as you can see, we got the opening page here with a neat little graphic right by my cover designer. A little black and white version of the cover itself of the background, which I think looks pretty cool. Um, I think it makes it so. Um, Oh, and also I mentioned before we started that if you haven't read the first book, Reset, I believe it's free on Amazon now until Saturday, June 5th. So at the moment, it's free. So if you haven't started the series, I would definitely recommend going back and picking up book one, Reset, which is, like I said, it's available for free um, on Amazon. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to read the first chapter. So let me scroll down a bit, um, zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier for y'all to see. All right, chapter one. Joseph Maxwell, better known as Busker Byrne, lead singer and guitarist of the Digitals and a rising star in the gaming community, woke up with a start at the sound of gunfire in his ears. Waking up, however, caused pain to spike through Busker's back and thigh. Pushing his side and back, Buster wasn't quite sure why he hurt so much until a notification popped up in his view. Debuff and HP every 2 seconds. Duration 30 seconds. Huh? Busker said under his breath, reading the notification again, finding it hard to understand. He felt sticky blood leaking out of his side and back, but didn't understand why he was having so much trouble understanding the notification. That is, until he noticed another notification. Pulling the notification up, Busker read, debuff added, concussion, minus 10% intelligence, agility, and dexterity. Duration, 1 minute. Busker grimaced. That explained it. Not only was he bleeding out, for reasons he didn't know or understand, he was also suffering from a concussion. That explained why he felt dimmer and slower than normal. Why am I bleeding and suffering from a concussion? Busker thought, furrowing his eyebrows. Why is the air so smoky? More loud gunfire caused Busker to instinctively curl into a fetal position, followed by screams of pain that were abruptly cut off. He couldn't tell who was shooting at who, but when the gunfire died down slightly, Busker races in to see if he could get a look at his surroundings. From what he could see, Busker lay on the side of the highway in the middle of nowhere. Well, it wasn't quite the middle of nowhere. In the distance, under the darkness of the night, he could see a small town, the lights standing out brightly in the shadows. He estimated that the town was about 2 or 3 miles away, although he couldn't tell what the town was. It certainly wasn't a far town, that was for sure. But Busker would worry about that later. To his right, lying flat on its side, was what appeared to be a huge tour bus of the kind that touring musicians and bands use. It was hard to make out many details in the darkness, but it looked like it had crashed. Smoke rose from the bus's engine. Almost the windows appeared to have been busted out or heavily cracked. A stench of asphalt, burnt glass, and smoke entered Busker's nostrils. Busker also tasted gravel in his mouth, which he spat as quickly as he could. Whose tour bus is this? Busker thought. Where the heck is everyone? More gunfire suddenly peppered the air, but Buster thought he could pinpoint the gunfire coming from the other side of the bus now. It sounded like a war zone near the bus, and Buster still had no idea who was fighting who or why. Buster put a hand on his head, and a terrible headache coming on. Think, dude, it looks like you were riding this bus when it crashed. Try to remember how you got here. Unfortunately, the concussion debuff seemed to be hampering his memory as well as his stats. It was another drawback to being a digital being, that is, a human being who had their mind and consciousness downloaded directly into Cape's Online. It meant that debuffs hurt Buster worse than other players playing at similar difficulty levels. Which is probably the reason why Buster sometimes missed his physical body, despite knowing that it was impossible to return to it. Having a physical body would mean he could just log off and not have to deal with the pain or debuffs that caused him a lot of trouble in Cape's Online. Shaking his head, Busker forced himself to sit up. He decided that if he couldn't remember how he got here or where the other digitals were, then he'd just get up and start looking. He tried to avoid the gunfire, of course, but he suspected that his teammates were probably fighting off overhead attack. Even that simple motion sent waves of pain shooting up his spine, however. He leaned on his arms, his palms digging into the harsh asphalt road. Dizziness threatened to overtake him if he tried to stand up. Constant bleeding wasn't helping either, as he could feel the blood sticking to the rough road beneath his hands. Another round of gunfire went off, and this one ran around the side of the tour bus to keep it a stop. The figure wore dark clothing, which helped him blend in with the night somewhat, though for some reason he was wearing a cowboy hat on top of his head and a bandana around his mouth. Although the figure's details were hard to see, Buster could definitely see that the figure held a gun, and he didn't look very friendly. Ah, said the silhouette in a heavy Mexican accent voice. The target! Buster didn't like being called a target, especially by a stranger with a gun. So Buster tried to get up, only for the concussion to cause him to stagger and fall over onto his side. The silhouette, however, rushed over and kicked him in the side. Buster rolled over onto his back, his bleeding side wound spiking with pain from the blow. enough to rock Busker's world and make him wish he'd never woken up at all. But now that the see him a little better. He's clearly a Mexican man, probably in his 30s. Or a black cowboy cap with a strange star attached to his vest or reminding him of a sheriff's badge. Hovering above his head, the name tag Road Bandito could be seen. Sure that this guy was an NPC, most likely. Not that that made him any less deadly, though, especially when the Bandito pointed his gun at Busker. Time to die, anti-hero, said the Bandito. Once you're dead, I'll take that guitar of yours and sell for more money than I know what to do. The Bandito never got to finish his sentence because a sharp blade cut through his neck, sending his head flying off his body somewhere into the darkness beyond Busker's vision. The Bandito's body collapsed and disappeared like all dead NPCs did, revealing a ghostly, grim reaper-like figure hovering before him, her scythe dripping with the Bandito's blood. Although the hovering figure's form might have been intimidating to someone who didn't know her, Busker's face burst into a smile when he saw her. Spiritus, glad to see you. That Bandito guy almost got me. I know, said Spiritus, who was Busker's sidekick. She peered at him more closely and grimaced. Good God, you look terrible. I know you got thrown out of the bus, but dang. Spiritus floated down next to Busker and handed him a health drink, which Busker accepted without question. The cherry-flavored soda felt great on his parched lips, washing away the taste of blood and gravel in his mouth. Wiping his lips, Busker looked at Spiritus and said, Thanks for the drink, but what the heck happened? Where are we? Where's everyone else? Spiritus' eye holes widened in shock. You mean you genuinely don't remember? You must be in worse shape than I thought. Busker rubbed the back of his head, feeling dirt and blood cake into his mohawk. I guess I must have hit my head really hard or something, because yeah, I don't remember a thing. Spiritus' bony teeth chattered. This is not good. I thought you might be dead, but losing your memory is even worse. Why? Said Busker, tossing the health drink bottle. Who attacked us? I'll explain in a bit, said Spiritus, right through the air. Right now, we need to. The sound of a gunshot pierced the air and a bullet hole suddenly appeared in Spiritus' chest. Spiritus gasped and collapsed into the ground, clutching her bleeding heart. Busker could see that Spiritus was losing health and fast, which was bad because her overall health was much lower than his. Getting onto his hands and knees, Busker crawled over to Spiritus and said, Spiritus, hey, can you hear me? Spiritus, please. Don't get any closer to the sidekick. I won't have to kill you too, said a dark, British accented voice from the shadows. From out of the shadows, just beyond Busker's line of sight, sat the massively demonic horse. The horse snorted, pawing the ground with its front hooves, its dead white eyes glowing unnaturally bright in the shadows. The stench of death wafted off the horse's body, which Busker could smell even from here. Its fur looked rough and wild, like it had been partially buried for years, its ribcage showing through its thin skin. Seated atop the horse was a man wearing black leather clothing. Two long curved horns curled out from his forehead, giving him a ram-like appearance. Demonic wings were folded up against his back, while his huge yet thin hands clutched the horse's reins tightly. What looked like a black sword was sheathed at his side, while his unnaturally pale face made him look even more ghostly than Spiritus. The name tag Villain plus Dark Blood red lighting that added to his demonic appearance. Busker gulped. I know who you are. You're Darkhold. Darkhold smiled in a satisfied way. I see that my reputation precedes me. I know who you are, Busker Bird, lead singer and guitarist for the Digitals. A pleasure to meet you, even if this may be our last as well as first meeting. Seeing Darkhold sparked a memory in Busker's mind. Combined with the healing properties of the health drink that Spiritus has given Busker, he now remembered the sequence of events leading up to this moment. Although I kind of wish he didn't, because remembering what came before wasn't going to help either him or Spiritus survive Darkhold's power. Alright, that's the end of chapter 1, so I hope you enjoyed this reading. Um, yeah, as we can see, we leave Busker on a little bit of a cliffhanger here, as he finds himself in a strange situation, being menaced by a deadly-looking villain known as Darkhold, who for some reason decided to target him, and may have killed Spiritus at the same time. So, if I'll find out what happens next, you can go on, just go scroll. You can go to Amazon or scroll in the description of this video. That'll take you straight to Amazon, and then you can just then you can just buy or borrow it there. Hopefully, you'll enjoy it. But anyways, this was So this chapter was interesting to write. It's an intermediate reads type chapter, which means that it's starting in the middle of the action with a little explanation. As you can probably tell by the end of the chapter, the book after this point goes back, I think, like a day or so to lead up to the events of how Buster got in the situation. So I don't open all my books that way. It's not like the best way necessarily to open a book, but it can be a very effective way. I do fall back on it sometimes. I'm not sure how else to open a book. It's a pretty effective way to open a story, in my opinion. Um, and so yeah, um, I guess I don't have very much else to say about that except that. Darkhold, I think, is an interesting villain. You don't see too much of that yet, but later on in the story, as he develops more and learn more about him, um, like I said, I think he's a fun, interesting villain for me to write, and I hope you find feel. Um, so anyways, yeah, that's the reading and looking at the chat. Still don't see any comments or questions or anything, so it's okay. If if you, I know I'll probably get more interaction once this actually goes live, and once the recording is available on YouTube for my readers to watch. So if you're a reader and so yeah, I guess that's it for tonight. If you have any other questions or concerns or whatever, feel free to comment on this video afterwards, and I'll try to respond to all comments. Or you can uh, join my Discord or my newsletter. There should be links to both in my description in the description below. Um, I'm always on there on my Discord server along with my other readers. Um, and in terms of next month's live reading, I don't have a new book coming out, so I'll just go through the backlist title. Most likely, the I don't know the exact date yet. I think the next reading will be on July 1st or July 2nd, probably around the same time. Like I said, I don't know for sure just yet. And I'll be doing a live reading of the first chapter of the Young Neos #1 Brothers. So that's the Young Neos is the sequel series to the Superhero Sun series, taking place immediately afterwards and following the young superhero team known as Neos, and their adventures as they deal with these and deadly supervillain group known as the Venetians, led by the enigmatic John Man, a billionaire with his own agenda. So, yeah, like I said, that's an older book that came out about 4 years ago. Now, a little over 4 years, like 4.5 years ago. So it's been a while since I've read it, but um, it's a book that my readers seem to like, um, and I've also been meaning to revisit that series for a while, so it's gonna be a good chance for me to do that. So, anyways, yeah, I'll get that scheduled sometime, probably tomorrow, uh, and then yeah, then I guess I'll see you in July. See y'all in July. So again, thanks for watching and listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, like I said, VR Hero #2 trial is now available on Amazon and it is an ebook and paperback. It's also on Kindle Limited as the ebook, so you can get it that way if you want. If you have a Kindle Limited subscription, um, and otherwise, yeah, that's it.